Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the It Girl Mindset. Today, we're diving into 7 unconventional ways that I'm leveling up in my life. It's so interesting. Sometimes I feel like the things that I do on a day-to-day basis are very, general and that everyone knows about it. But the more I think about it, the way I actually show up and try new habits and really just embody my future self is very different. And I actually don't hear many people talking about this. Something about me is that I'm always trying to learn and change and evolve. And I genuinely love finding new ways to just make my life better, right? Like whether that's how confident I feel, whether that's learning more about myself, or maybe that's just a new routine, right? Like I just am obsessed with making my life amazing, honestly. I just wanted to share these, and before we get into it, please have an open mind, okay? If one of the ways doesn't resonate with you, just, take it as it is, right? You don't have to implement every single one of these things. These are really things that I've learned over time, and I don't expect you to just change everything at once, right? I always preach about that. Don't change everything at once or you'll end up changing nothing. And again, this is just my own personal experience, especially with the first one that I'm going to talk about. I'm not an expert on, but I just really wanted to share my experience to hopefully help inspire you to just learn more about yourself. And again, keep finding ways to level up so you can just make your life the juiciest, most amazing, abundant life possible. Before we get into the episode, next week on the podcast, I really want to do an Ask Me Anything. So there is a link down below to fill out a short questionnaire. You can leave it anonymous if you would like. And I just want to know what you want to learn from me, whether that's health, fitness, mindset, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, right? Routines, whatever it may be, nothing is off limits. So if you do have a question, please fill that out. Again, you can keep it anonymous if you would like, but I really want to know what you guys want to hear more about and learn more about. So I thought it would be a fun way to just kick off next week's episode by just answering any and all of your questions, okay? Okay, my loves, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the It Girl Mindset, where I help you step into the next level version of yourself by mastering your mindset, manifesting your deepest desires, and connecting deeply with your body. It's about becoming the most authentic, radiant, unapologetic, and unbothered version of yourself. Together, we're going to chat about how to unlock your true potential and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to become the healthiest, hottest, and most abundant version of yourself, you're in the perfect place. Let's get into it. Okay, so number 1 is I'm using numerology and human design to hack my life. If you have never heard of human design or numerology, I'm going to give you kind of the breakdown of what each thing is, what it's saying about me, and how I'm using it to hack my life. Again, like I said, keep an open mind here, okay? Even if you're not woo-woo, it's so interesting to see how these tools like, again, human design, numerology, even astrology, whether you believe in them or not, if you actually look up what yours are, you'll see so many synchronicities of who you are. And again, I truly believe that knowledge is power. So it's interesting too, because it's always so spot on. Whether you believe it or not, I guarantee, go ask ChatGPT what your numerology is, what your human design is, and then ask it how to hack your life. It's so powerful. And honestly, it's just, again, allowed me to understand myself on such a deep level, and also has allowed me to work with my energy and not against it. So again, I'm not an expert in this. We're actually going to have a human design expert on. She's going to do like a live reading of me, and it's going to be so fun. But this is all from ChatGPT. I didn't make any of this up, or did I figure it out on my own? So I just want to make that very clear. But essentially, human design blends astrology, the chakra system, and quantum physics. And it's pretty much an energetic blueprint of how your body is built to make decisions, create, and use energy. Instead of teaching you what to do, it shows you how your energy naturally works so life feels easier, right? So there's a couple different types like manifestors, generators, projectors. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details, but Each type has a strategy, which is essentially the way they're designed to move through the world, and then an authority, which is the part of the body that knows what's right. Okay, so I'm a generator. And what that means is I'm essentially here to build, create, and master what I love. Each type of human design is different in how they show up, how they feel things, how they know things, right? So again, I'm a generator, so I'm here to build, create, and master what I love. It says generators have consistent life force energy when they're doing things that genuinely light them up, but we can shut down fast when we push through things that feel very wrong. That's why, and it makes so much sense for me, why I struggled so hard in the corporate world, because that type of work didn't excite me. It's not that I didn't want to work or didn't have motivation to work, but the type of work that I was doing was so draining to me that it was, I know it sounds so dramatic, but like a part of my soul was like lost. Like a part of me felt like it was like dead when I would go into work. Like I remember walking into work, and there's nothing against like the company I worked for, but I just remember walking into the office and just feeling like doom, like this darkness and like this dark cloud over my head. And I know that sounds dramatic, but being such a highly sensitive girly, it makes so much sense. And then understanding my human design a bit more, it really makes sense as to why I felt that way and why I felt so pulled to go off on my own and be my own boss. So my strategy is to respond. So rather than initiating ideas out of thin air, I wait to respond to something in my own environment, like an opportunity, a question, a conversation, or even just kind of like an inner dialogue or nudge. Again, that's why I was like, oh, I want to do like an episode just about me. And then I was like, wait, I need people to ask me questions. So that's why please fill out that questionnaire at the bottom. It really lights me up to respond to things instead of just creating things out of thin air. So I'd love it if you fill that out. And then my authority is my sacral. And essentially what that means is my gut knows before my mind does. I have a very strong mind-body connection, but I didn't even know how to use that, right? And knowing and learning this just really made me understand how I make decisions even more clearly. So for example, if I'm debating on if I should do something or not, if I should take an opportunity or not, I really have to tap into my body. My mind, especially just as an anxious girly, goes crazy and all over the place, but my body always knows. When it's a no, I get this like pit in my stomach. It won't go away. It's constant. And that's how I know it's always like an absolutely no. Absolutely not. Then if it's an absolute yes, I am like my whole body is like tingly and like I can't stop smiling, right? So my body always tells me how to make decisions. So again, that's been so helpful for me just to discern, okay, what am I actually leaning towards and what is an absolute no? But honestly, for me, being able to trust that has been such a challenge because I live in my head. Again, am like an anxious girly and really can let fear take over. And so learning this, again, has just given me power. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect with it. I'm like, oh, yep, okay, body, that's a yes. Okay, moving on, right? I really need to master self-trust a bit more. But again, it's just great information for me to know and understand so it can better help me make decisions. Now, one last thing I want to touch on about human design, and then we'll move on, is my profile. So my profile is a 6-2, which means the 6 line means I'm a role model. I learned by living, messing up, and then teaching from that experience, which honestly makes so much sense with podcasting, why I love just learning by experience and then being able to talk about it. And then the line 2 is the natural hermit. So I need solitude and time off to process and recharge. It's interesting because I've gone through seasons in my life where I'm like, I am such an extrovert. And then I've been in seasons where I'm like, I'm an introvert. I can't talk to anyone. But it really is that balance of the two. And I'm not going to lie, even this last weekend, I honestly planned to record this podcast yesterday, but I was drained. I just felt so tired. I never want to come on my podcast out of obligation. It's like, I really want to come and like be my best self on here, right? And so I didn't. And honestly, I didn't record it yesterday and I was feeling so guilty. I was like, I had these work things that I promised myself I was going to do and I didn't. But again, I I needed that rest. And sometimes that's still, again, hard for me to be okay with because I am such a goal-oriented achiever personality, which honestly is one of my shadows and something that I'm really meant to overcome. But that being said, even though I know all this stuff about me, it's still a challenge. I'm not perfect with it, but I truly believe that knowing all this is just such powerful knowledge. In short, what my human design really taught me is to ask my body first and then my mind second, to respond but not force, build my day around my energy, not time. And that's, again, something I've really struggled with because I'm like, if I have this planned out, but my energy is completely different than what I think it's going to be, I really struggle to be okay with changing the plan a bit and just honoring my energy. And then again, celebrating rest as part of my productivity, still really working on this. And then lastly, share the lessons from real life, which again, that is something that I think comes really natural to me because I just love trying a million different things and then coming on here and talking about it with you. Okay, so that's human design, right? Go on to ChatGPT and say, give me my human design reading and just see how accurate it is. And even if you feel like it's not accurate, it's probably because you haven't noticed it yet. So also you should just ask ChatGPT and then DM me on Instagram at Ashley Robots and just let me know what it says and if you were surprised by anything, because it honestly blew my freaking mind when I learned about all this. Next, we're going to talk about numerology. So numerology is a study of how numbers carry energy and symbolism, kind of like astrology does with planets. So every number from 1 to 9 and the master numbers like 11, 22, and 33 represent a specific vibration or life theme. Stick with me, okay? I know this is kind of like, what? But genuinely, after I learned this, it just blew my mind. So in numerology, your birth date and your full name at birth are converted into numbers, and those numbers describe things like your life path, so your main purpose and the lessons you're here to master, expression or destiny, so how you show up in the world or use your gifts, soul urge, what your heart truly wants beneath all goals or titles, your personality, which is how other people see you, and then your personal year, which is the theme you're moving through right now. It's not necessarily like telling you your fortune, right? But it's just like an energetic map, essentially. And it's just, again, another tool to help you understand how you personally operate and why you are the way that you are. So now for me, so my birthday is November 7th. So I'm a life path 5, which is essentially the explorer, which again, this just makes so much sense. Like, and how it aligns with human design too. So my core lesson is freedom through experience. I'm learning by living, trying new things, meeting new people, and evolving through change. I don't know if I've ever heard a more accurate description of me. One, freedom is a core value of mine, and it has been for a really long time. And again, kind of going back to my corporate job situation, like I felt so constricted. Like I felt suffocated in a sense, is kind of like the best way I can describe it. And there was nothing wrong with the people I work with. Like I absolutely loved my boss, but it was just feeling constrained. And that's why as soon as I left my corporate job and went out on my own, I just felt like this weight was lifted off of my shoulders and I just felt free. And also I learned by living, trying new things, meeting new people, and evolving through change. I genuinely love change. I feel like a lot of people are afraid of change. I love it because I feel like it just opens up doors to a new version of you. And I just love learning so much about myself and so much about who I am and how I can make my life better, hence the theme of this episode. And so again, that just, my numerology just makes so much sense with who I am. And then my name is Ashley, which is technically a 7. I don't exactly know how they calculate these. Again, I'm using ChatGPT, so take this all with a grain of salt. But 7 energy is introspective and intuitive, so it makes me a natural seeker of truth, someone who wants to understand the deeper why, which again, makes so much sense behind like health, mindset, and spirituality. Like, I need to know the why behind things or else I don't have motivation to do it, which again, makes so much sense for wanting to learn so much about numerology and astrology and human design and all the things. I want to know why I am the way that I am, and that allows me to show up more efficient, more lively in my life. Now for the soul urge, I'm a number 3. So this is creative self-expression. So at heart, I'm here to create, talk, and tell stories. That's why podcasting, writing, long form content feels so fulfilling to me. And I just love using my voice, which is honestly so insane to me because I talked about this a lot on the podcast, but I know we have so many new amazing women that have been following and listening to the It Girl Mindset. But I used to be mute. Like when I was little, I was silent. I honestly was mute up until freshman year of high school. I kind of had this whole thing happen, which I'm not going to go into. I've talked about it a ton, but I was so quiet. I was so afraid of everything. I just remember hiding behind my mom all the time, hiding behind like my dad. Like I was not outgoing at all. And I was always afraid to use my voice, which is why I think it's so funny that now I have a podcast and it's my favorite thing in the world is to just sit here and yap your ear off. So it's such a full circle moment, but it's just interesting to see how I've evolved. And again, it's not like I was just when I was little, it was like 7th, 8th grade, high school, like freshman year, I had this thing happen where I was forced to get out of my comfort zone and make new friends. And I kind of like had an identity shift. Not that I knew what that was at the time, but I completely changed. And long story short, people literally reintroduced themselves to me because they didn't know who I was because I had a completely different personality. But it's just, again, full circle that what I do for work now is yapping your ear off. So love that for me. Now for personality, that is a number 4, and this is structure and discipline. So even though I'm very intuitive and flowy, I actually thrive with order, which is probably not surprising to you. Like I am all about discipline, rituals, planning my day, like having an intense Notion dashboard to make sure I'm on track with everything, right? And those systems are actually what allow me to have freedom, right? And I think this is really where that soft girl discipline comes into play, where I need structure, but I also need fluidity in there, even going back to, the human design, where it's like, I need to learn to work with my energy and not against it. And so that's why I love structure, but I also need flow within that structure because of the way my energy works and how sensitive I am to it. And lastly, I just want to talk about my personal year. So there's actually a collective year and you have a personal year. So my current personal year is 9, and then next year will be a 1. Actually, I guess it's my birthday, which is November. It will be a year 1, but again, with everything that I've gone through the last couple years, it makes so much sense that my personal year is a 9, which is all about completing and releasing, letting go of old identities, clearing space, and just trusting that a new chapter is forming. I'm pretty much like at this phase right now where I've done so much work on myself and just this deep healing, and I'm closing chapters, closing things off, like letting go of things that no longer serve me. And I'm coming to the end of that period of my life. And then when I turn 31, which is crazy, I will be in personal year number 1. I know I'm talking a lot about what mine are, but you should really just go into ChatGPT and ask, what's my human design? What's my numerology? And just see if any of it helps you. And then after it tells you a little bit of a deep dive of what it is, say, how can I use this to hack my life? Or how can I use this to make my life better? Or give me some tactical tips, right? It's so, so powerful. So wow, we are only on number 1 and we've got 6 more to get through, but I knew that was going to be the longest one, but I just wanted to dive into my own because I think it's really powerful to see how aligned it actually is with who I am, to hopefully encourage you to go check yours out. But I'm honestly so excited to have an actual professional come on the podcast and actually read mine and just see what she says as well. I'm sure it's going to be very aligned with what we just kind of talked about, but I'm excited to kind of get into her brain and then have her tell all of you guys a deep dive on each of the human design types so she can help give tips for each of you guys as well. Number 2 is dressing like my future self. I don't know how many of you girlies are work from home girlies, but working from home has made me so lazy with my appearance. And there's nothing wrong with living in a sweatsuit or, working from home in workout clothes, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just going to say right now, like clothing is energy. And when I actually dress like my future self, I just have so much more motivation and energy. Even today, I am wearing this Old Navy. I just got this yesterday. It's 50% off right now. Honestly, it's so freaking cute. Just this Teddy Sherpa quarter zip. And I have some jeans on. It's not like I'm wearing anything crazy, but I just feel so much more put together and have so much more motivation to like go out into the world if I want to, right? Because if I was in sweats and had no makeup on and I had a friend be like, oh, let's go to a coffee shop, I would be like, And this is what I've been doing too, because we're going back to ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT a lot, but had ChatGPT do a full color analysis on me, and based on your skin tone, your eye color, your hair color, it will essentially give you a whole color analysis of what colors look really good on you, which colors brighten your face, and they have different ones. Like I'm technically an autumn. So that's like deep browns, taupe, kind of like this lighter brown, some deeper reds, right? Like that matches my skin tone and eye color the best. And so I've been using that plus Nuuly, because I'm not going to go spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on clothes. That's not what I want to invest my money in right now, honestly. And so that's why I've been loving Nuuly. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but it's essentially you pay like $100 a month. I think it's a little bit less than that. And you get 6 pieces of clothing that you are renting. And I've been loving it because it's just so fun to try things that you maybe wouldn't buy yourself. After you get them, you can purchase them as well. I actually haven't purchased anything yet. I've just been renting and trying on a bunch of different things. But the combination of Nuuly and ChatGPT doing the color analysis, and on top of that, a third way I've been using this is going onto Pinterest and just making a board of what my future self would wear. I've been leaning into like chunky sweaters, pea coats, stuff like that, and maybe like baggier jeans. So I searched on Pinterest, I screenshotted it, added to ChatGPT and was like, hey, based on my color analysis and this type of outfits, what can I search on Nuuly to rent clothes that fit this vibe? It's honestly been so fun to do, and the clothes that I've been wearing just make me feel so much more productive and like CEO founder-esque. And like I said, I'm always finding ways to hack my life, and having this Nuuly subscription has really helped me to just want to dress cute and have the motivation. Also, this is not sponsored at all. I genuinely love Nuuly. I honestly am kind of surprised that I like it because I wasn't sure if using used clothes would be weird or if like the clothing would smell weird or whatever, because I've never done anything like that before or rented any clothes before, but I've been loving it. So anyways, highly, highly recommend. If anything, just make a cutie little Pinterest board. You can even take pictures of all your clothes and have ChatGPT analyze them and say, okay, this is the vibe I'm going for. Help me pair some outfits together, right? ChatGPT is like my fashion consultant. What's up, you guys? We're taking a quick little break here because I want to tell you about something that I made for you completely free. Since you know I'm in my soft girl discipline era, I actually put together a 6-week soft girl discipline reset. It's a Notion dashboard designed to help you get back on track without the pressure. Inside, you will find 15 full workouts that combine strength and Pilates so you can feel strong, toned, and confident in just 6 weeks. Inside the dashboard, you'll find a habit tracker, daily nutrition goal, and even a weekly check-in system. You can completely customize your own habits so they actually fit your lifestyle too. And if you love structure as much as I do, you can even sync it directly to a calendar so your reset flows seamlessly with your day. Imagine how you'll feel 6 weeks from now, lighter, more energized, clear-headed, and proud of the discipline you've built in a way that feels soft, feminine, and sustainable. Honestly, can't believe I'm giving this away for free, but if you are ready for that fresh start, grab the 6-week reset through the link down in the show notes today. Okay, back to the episode. Okay, number 3 is honoring the season of life that I'm in. I feel like the last 6 to 8 months, I've been really in a season of slowing down and just really healing my body from the inside out and slowing down and just really making sure my nervous system is regulated. And while yes, I want to continue doing that, I think sometimes I almost use it as a cop-out, if that makes sense, where there's times when I do want to stay up late to finish something for work, or I do want to wake up early and go to the gym, but I've been holding myself back because I'm like, oh no, that's going to mess up my nervous system. And I feel like I don't even know if it's a cop-out, but it's more like putting my body first and just being almost overly anxious about making sure my nervous system is regulated, which is opposite of what regulating your nervous system even is. And last week we had Caroline on the podcast, The Psychic Medium. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's so good. She gave so many good tips. But she mentioned just asking your soul what season you're in. It's like, if you're like, this is kind of a bit of a more push grind season, and that's aligned with your soul and what you really want, making sure that's actually in alignment, then lean into that, right? Because even today, I woke up at 5:30 and I went to the gym. I was at the gym by like 6:30. It felt so good. And when I was so obsessed with regulating my nervous system, which I'm still keeping that in mind, but it's okay if I didn't get as much sleep to honor the season that I'm in. I guess the thing that I'm doing is just being okay with whatever season that is, whether that is a little bit more slowness and really just leaning into that soft girl energy, or it's a little bit more disciplined and pushing and making sure I'm moving things forward. And again, there's nothing right or wrong with either of the seasons. When I say honoring the season that you're in, it doesn't mean it needs to last 3 months, right? Maybe this is just a 2-week season that I'm in, and then after that, I'm going to want to lean into more slowness. But again, just being okay with whatever season that is, right? So that's what I'm really learning right now, is to just be okay with whatever season that I'm in, so I can just feel good and confident and not overthink what I actually want to do, right? So even today, like I woke up, went to the gym, maybe tomorrow I'll want to have like a little bit slower of a morning, right? There's no right or wrong. It's really just honoring the season that you're in, and the season can be a day, 2 weeks, a year, whatever it may be. Number 4 and 5 kind of go together, but number 4 is energetic hygiene. So as a highly sensitive girly, I have so many emotions, and if I don't let those emotions out or deal with them, I can just feel my body being stressed out. Even in the last week, I've just felt my body just feels stressed out. Like I feel like I have some stuck energy. And for me, that just feels like physically my resting heart rate is elevated. My HRV is not as good. I'm not getting as restful sleep, and I am a little bit more rushy than normal. So that's kind of what like that stuck energy feels like for me. So a couple of things that I've been doing, again, shout out to Caroline because she gave these tips last week on the podcast. So a couple of things I've been doing are, whenever I take a shower, I'm just really intentional with almost imagining stuck energy, just like visualizing it evaporating off of me. So I can go to bed just feeling calm and grounded, just washing away anyone's energy that isn't mine, or, something that's been bothering me, whatever it may be. So just really being intentional and doing little things like that, where I'm just visualizing the shower falling off. So it's called an energy cleansing shower or a cleansing shower, whatever it may be. But again, it's just about setting the intention, like, okay, I'm choosing to decide that I'm letting all this excess energy, whatever's not mine, and any, negative energy just flow off of me. And I know it sounds kind of weird and woo-woo, but honestly, it's been helping so much. I just feel so much more grounded. And then even when I do my meditations, I'm just being so much more intentional with my energy and listening to, what do I need to do? Is it breath work? Is it, EFT tapping? What do I need to do to, again, let go of excess energy that isn't mine? I really feel like that's been helping me a ton. And then number 5, which again, I said kind of goes along with it, is writing down what comes up in my meditations to notice synchronicities. So I meditate every single day. I think I'm on like a 380-day streak at this point, but I've just been meditating and having these things come to my brain, these intuitive pings that I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I should do that. and then they just completely leave my brain. So another tip that Caroline gave was to write down in a journal everything that comes to mind in your meditations, or anything that, any ideas or things or patterns or things to let go of that come up in your meditations. And even just doing this for a week, I've noticed so many synchronicities and just so many patterns and so many lessons that I never would have noticed before. For example, one thing that I've really noticed lately is having it all. I have had this belief that I can't have it all. And it's like there's always one thing that's not right. You can have a thriving relationship, money flowing in, your career is booming, but then maybe your health isn't as good, or like you're kind of always waiting for that one shoe to drop. And I'm just not accepting that anymore. The intuitive ping that kept coming to me into my meditations was like, you're actually allowed to have it all, actually. Like just giving myself permission to actually have it all and be thriving in my relationship and in my career and money and health and body. Like I deserve to have it all. I'm worthy to have it all, right? Because I actually had something come up where honestly, everything in my life is just feeling so good right now, but then my skin started to break out. And this has happened before where a couple years ago, everything was thriving in my life except my skin. My skin got way worse. So it's like, again, it's like this repetitive pattern of like, see, I can't have it all. But I never would have noticed this pattern again if I wasn't actually writing in my journal and noticing what's been coming up in my brain during my meditations. Also, as someone who loves to jump into things, sometimes I get so excited about things and I want to go all in. That's why I have so many ideas and things that I started but never finished. Honestly, I feel very embarrassed by that, because I've had so many ideas and courses and all these things that I get so excited about, and I go in 150% and I spend hours and hours and hours, and then I'm actually like, wait, do I want to do this? So as someone who does that, I've really been trying to slow down, and I've been getting these reoccurring messages in my meditations. And so that just allows me to trust what I actually want to move forward on when they keep coming up over and over again. Okay, number 6 is not taking life so seriously and really leaning into the let them theory. Honestly, for a really long time, and up until a year ago, I was taking life so seriously. It was all work, no play, constantly achieving, which is one of my numerology wounds, is like I have to prove myself by being valuable and just constantly achieving. And learning to let go of that has been so freeing. But again, it's like we're literally on a floating rock. It's not that deep, right? And obviously, I know I can't say that because I'm such a deep human, but honestly, just being able to have more fun in my life and not taking life so seriously and really leaning into the let them theory, which is essentially like, you want to be my friend? Cool, let them. You don't want to be my friend? Let them. You want to talk shit about me? Let them. You want to, tell me you love me? Also let them, right? Like just allowing people to do what they're going to do, because we have no control anyways. And they can think and feel and do whatever they want, because I don't have control over them anyways. So if I try to think that I do have control or can understand what's actually in their brain, it's just going to drive myself crazy, and it's only hurting me in the long run. So being able to just kind of release that and just focus so much on myself and watering my own grass and taking care of my own self and creating my best life has been so freeing, and I feel like is the biggest hack to leveling up your life, right? Even for me, I'm still learning this whole value thing and feeling like I have to prove myself and achieve all of this. Again, it's still a learning process, but even, for example, on social media, I'm kind of leaning more into my influencer era and like posting outfit videos. And if I cared what people thought, I wouldn't be able to post it. Does it still feel a little bit scary sometimes? Yeah. I'm like, why do people care what I'm wearing? But I love watching that kind of stuff, right? But if I cared what other people thought, I would never post it. And then I would just, who knows, I would lose out on all these opportunities that are to come, right? So not taking life so seriously has been such a vibe, honestly, because I just get to live my life in the way that I want without being worried what other people are thinking about me. And you should do that too. It's very freeing. Number 7, the last way I've been leveling up is spending money on things that truly light me up. Okay. I think we can get so in our head about budgeting and yes, right? You want to make sure you're not spending more than you're earning, but at the same time, looking at your budget in a way that you're looking at what lights you up. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you have to cut out coffee, like stop going and buying coffee. But if that's something that really re-energizes you and just brings you so much joy, a $5 to $7 cup of coffee, that's probably not the thing to cut out, right? And again, I've learned this through mentorship, and there's a couple people that I follow in the finance world that talk about this, but what actually lights you up, right? So things that have been lighting me up are my facial. Shout out to Tiffany at Soul Rituals. If you're local to Sonoma County or Sebastopol is where it's located, they do a bunch of different things, but Tiffany does my facials and she is magic. And I literally feel like I go to another dimension when I get a facial from her. And it just re-energizes me and it's just such a form of relaxation for me. And so I know that's something that's worth the investment for me. Mentorship, you guys know I talk about this all the time, but mentorship has completely changed my life, changed who I am. I've never felt more me, if that makes sense. And so that's, again, another thing I invest my money on because I know that it is making me the best version of me and allowing me to live such an amazing, abundant life. And I never would have, maybe I would have gotten there, but it would have taken me so much longer to do on my own. And then, like I said, coffee, I have been loving going to Penn Grove Market. It has been so delicious. And it makes me so happy. So even though, yes, I can make coffee at home and save money, I genuinely love getting coffee. It is such a vibe. So even on Saturday, me and Eric, we went to Penn Grove Market and got some yummy, delicious coffee. And we went on a walk and I told Eric, I was like, this is genuinely one of my favorite pastimes to do with you. This makes me so, so, so happy. So yes, I could have just made coffee at home, but that $7, $6, whatever, is genuinely making me so happy and lighting me up. That's 1000% worth it, right? And then the other thing is Nuuly. That's another thing that I've been spending money on that genuinely lights me up. I just get so excited about picking and putting together all these different outfits. So it's like, yes, I'm spending money on clothes, but I'm also spending time on, like curating these fun outfits that usually would cost me hundreds of dollars to actually buy myself. But instead, I'm going to rent it for a month and see if I love it and I can purchase it from there or not. Again, lean into spending money on things that light you up. Okay. Wow. This was a bit of a longer episode, but I just really wanted to deep dive into all the unconventional ways that I'm really leveling up and just understanding myself so I can become the best version of me and just make my life the best possible life I possibly can. Of course, if you guys have any questions, please DM me on Instagram. I want to know what your human design is. I want to know what your numerology is. And I want to know what you were surprised by because, again, this just like blew my freaking mind. I have a bunch of links down below. And please, for next week's episode, please list all of your questions from anything, again, from lifestyle to mindset to health and fitness to habits, rituals, everything in between. There's no question that's off limits, okay? And you could do it completely anonymous if you would like. Okay, my loves, that wraps up this episode. I hope you loved it. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. I freaking love being in your ear or on your screen every single week. So if you would rate and review the show and follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it would mean the absolute world to me. And of course, share it with a friend, but also message me. I want to hear from you, okay? Okay, my loves, thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you in the next episode.